My beloved child, at this very moment I want you to know that a profound shift is drawing near. It is not an ordinary event, nor a passing breeze, but a spiritual transition that will reach deep into the roots of your soul. You think you are still safe within the walls you have built with your own hands, but in truth those walls are only illusions, a thin veil hiding the fragility within. I see clearly what you cannot yet see. The time of testing will come and you are not fully ready. Yet I do not speak this to make you afraid, but to awaken your heart and prepare you. For my love will never stand by and watch you step into the abyss without giving you a light to guide your way. I am the one who breathed into your nostrils so that you became a living soul. I know every fear, every longing, every hidden corner you keep concealed, and it is I who longs to set you free from the invisible chains that weigh you down. My child, quiet your heart before me. Stop letting the cares of this world consume your mind. Stop letting the noise of the earth drown out the whisper of my spirit. You have often chased after success, approval, and recognition, thinking that in them you would find security, but you did not realize that all these things are like dust in the wind. I have sent you signs many times through dreams, through a song, through unexpected events, but you thought they were only coincidences. You did not see that in every moment I have been reminding you, nothing happens by chance, everything is in my hand. You have allowed the noise to drown out my voice, but today I want you to know, my voice does not only come in gentleness, but sometimes like a mighty roar that shakes the earth. For I am not an idle image, but the living God who at the sound of my word mountains melt. When I speak, the seas are stilled. You often pray with your lips, but your heart is far from me. You ask for blessings, but resist correction. You desire protection, but reject transformation. My child, I do not condemn you for this, for I know the weakness of humankind. But I cannot allow you to remain forever in a deception you do not see. If I am silent, it is not because I have left you, but because I give you space to choose me with your true heart, yet that space is about to close. Do you remember the scripture that says today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts, Hebrews 3:1-5. This is the very today that the word speaks of. This is the moment you must decide whether to stay in false safety or step out into true surrender. My beloved, what is coming is not your destruction, but the end of what is false. You will be cut off not to be cast away, but to be reshaped. Just as a potter breaks a misshapen vessel to mold it anew from the clay, I am doing the same with you. I know what you cannot stand when exposed to my light. I know what must die so that new life may arise. And I love you enough not to leave you in half-heartedness, for I have destined you for a future far more glorious, but you must be willing to let go. You cannot cling to chains and still expect to wear the crown. You cannot walk with the shadows and still long for the light. I declare to you the time has come for you to choose. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. My child, I see clearly the battle within your mind, the sleepless nights, the hidden tears no one else knows. I have counted every sigh, gathered every tear. I have never abandoned you even when others turned their backs. But now I need you to journey deep into yourself to begin again on a firm foundation in me. The rejection you are about to experience is not humiliation, but a gift of preservation. I will take away from you the things that do not belong to eternity. I will let you fall away from fragile supports so that you may take hold of me, the one who never changes. Just as Job endured loss yet in the end received double restoration, so you too will see that every trial is not in vain. Out of sorrow will come new life. Out of tears will spring forth joy. Out of brokenness will arise hope. Therefore do not fear when I allow old foundations to be shaken. Do not tremble when relationships, habits, or dreams you once clung to are removed. I am pruning you so that you may bear more fruit. I am purifying you, so that you may stand pure before me. And in this very process, you will come to know my love and power in a deeper way. Just as gold is refined only in fire, so your soul will shine brighter after passing through the furnace of testing. This is not punishment, but preparation. It is not the end, but the beginning of a new season of glory that I have set apart for you. My beloved child, I know many questions echo in your heart. Why now? Why me? Why must I face this stripping away when all I desire is to follow God? But remember, the path I lead you on never looks like the short-sighted calculations of man. When I prune a branch, it is not out of hatred, but because I see its potential to bear more fruit. When I close a door, it is not to confine you, but to keep you from walking into ruin. It is precisely because I love you that I intervene to remove what could bind you for a lifetime. And because of that love, you will discover that outward loss is truly an investment toward a greater restoration. Remember what Jesus said, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes that it may bear more fruit. John 1:5-1-2. My child, this pruning is exactly what you are stepping into. You once thought that safety was found in being accepted, in holding your position, or in achieving your desires. But I want you to know that true security is found only in me, the unchanging one. When the foundations built on reputation or achievement begin to shake, it only reveals that they were never stable. When human approval is stripped away, you will see your need for an eternal name engraved in heaven. When the support of close companions disappears, you will realize that I am the faithful companion who never departs. I have seen your heart cling to these fragile things for too long. Now I must pull you away, not to abandon you, but to bring you back to the true source of life. My child, do not confuse rejection with abandonment. People may turn their backs, but I have never turned my face. People may deny you, but I still call your name with a voice of love. People may cast you aside, but I still hold you in my hand. The rejection I permit is only a way to lead you into a new space, one where old chains have no power. You cannot carry compromises, fears, or hidden burdens of the soul into the next season. They must fall away. Just as old garments no longer fit a body that has grown, so your soul cannot wear old habits when I desire to clothe you with a new robe. Do not underestimate this process. Do not dismiss it as meaningless pain. I am using your very tears and wounds to engrave lessons within you that comfort and ease could never teach. You may not realize it, but it is precisely when you are pushed out of what is familiar that your soul gains the chance to hear my voice more clearly. Surrounded by noise, you cannot discern what is true and what is false. But in the stillness of separation in the wilderness, where no one else remains, you will hear only my voice echoing. It is there I will teach you that life does not come from bread alone, but from every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Deuteronomy 8:3. It is there I will show you that true strength does not come from human support, but from the Spirit working within you. My child, I know you fear loss. I know you fear loneliness. I know you fear being misunderstood, set aside. But remember, fear does not come from me, for I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of self-control too. Timothy 1:7. When I bring you through trials, it is not to crush you, but to teach you how to rise stronger. When I allow you to be set apart, it is not to make you worthless, but to help you see that your identity does not lie in human approval, but in the eternal covenant I have sealed with your soul. Do not think that glory can come without sorrow. Even my only Son, Jesus Christ, did not enter into exaltation without first enduring the cross. He was rejected, betrayed, crucified, and only then did he step into resurrection and glory. So you must understand, refinement is a path that cannot be avoided. The cross was not the end, but the doorway into eternal life. Loss is not the final word, but the prelude to a new symphony. And rejection, rather than being abandonment, is in truth the preparation for the lifting up I have appointed at my time. My child therefore keeps a humble heart. Let your tears not turn into bitterness, but into streams that wash your soul clean. Let rejection not turn into resentment, but into the driving force that makes you cling to me more. Let the silence of men become the opportunity for you to hear my voice more clearly. For in all things I remain the Lord your shepherd, the one who leads you beside green pastures and still waters. Even when you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, remember that my rod and my staff still comfort you. Psalm 2, 3, 4. And because of this, the rejection you fear is in truth hidden grace. Grace that will open for you a new journey where you will learn more deeply what it means to be loved with a love that never abandons. My beloved child, I call you to open your spiritual eyes and see what is truly happening. You have spent many years searching for stability in fleeting things, and this has wearied your soul. The world promises safety, but only gives you restlessness. The world promises glory, but leaves you empty. The world applauds when you achieve what it calls success, but abandons you when you fall. My child, I do not want you to continue in this endless cycle. It is time for you to realize that true safety, true glory, and true fulfillment do not come from what men give, but only from me, the one who created you and ordained your destiny. You have not yet seen it, but every event, every circumstance, even rejection or loss, is a stone I use to build your soul. I waste nothing. Every tear, every lonely night, every misunderstanding is preparing you for a new season. You see failure, but I see training. You think you are being cast aside, but I tell you that you are being set apart. Like a seed buried in the dark earth, your soul must pass through hidden seasons before it bursts forth in new life. Did not Jesus say, "Unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone, but if it dies, it bears much fruit"? John 1:2-4. My child, it is in brokenness that new life is born. Do not let fear hold your steps. Do not let memories of past failures keep you from moving forward. Do not let the voices of men drown out my voice within you. You have lived too long in the confusion between the true and the false. But now I speak plainly, the hour of separation has come. I am distinguishing wheat from chaff, light from darkness, truth from falsehood, and you cannot stand in both places. You cannot cling to old comforts while hoping to enter the new season I have prepared. You must decide, and that decision cannot wait. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Today is the moment when I set before you life and death, blessing and curse, and I call you to choose life. Deuteronomy 3:0-1-9. My child, the preparation I require is not about arranging things by human standards. It is not about making more plans or gathering more strength or building more defenses. True preparation lies in your soul. It begins with sincere repentance, with laying down old burdens, with unconditional surrender. You must be willing to kneel so that I may lift you up. You must be willing to admit weakness so that my strength may be revealed in you. You must be willing for me to strip away your masks so that I may clothe you in the true identity I have destined for you. This is not an easy journey, but it is a necessary one. No one can enter my kingdom while clinging to self and pride. You must learn humility so that I may raise you up at the appointed time. Do not forget that the shaking will not only come upon your life, but will sweep across nations, systems, and people. I am making the whole world see that human power is limited, but I remain the sovereign one. Therefore, when you see turmoil around you, do not fear. I know that I am still turning the wheels of history. What I call you to do is this: be ready. Ready in your mind, in your soul, in every daily choice. Place me at the center, and all else will be added to you. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, Matthew 6:3, and you will see your needs met in ways beyond understanding. My child, do not let rejection discourage you. Do not let the refusal of others make you forget my acceptance. Do not let outward loss overshadow eternal reward. I am clearing the path for you to step into a new season where you will stand firm not by your own strength but by grace. But for this to happen, you must let go. You cannot hold on to ashes and light at the same time. Give me what has died, and I will give you what lives. Give me what is false, and I will clothe you with truth. Give me your weakness, and I will give you strength. Therefore, my child, be alert, step out of spiritual slumber. Recognize that this moment is holy. See it not as a fleeting stage, but as a turning point in destiny. You stand at the threshold of transformation. I have not called you to remain in the old, but to enter the new. And if you choose obedience, you will see me turn rejection into a stepping stone, refusal into a doorway, and brokenness into the beginning of a life more complete in me. Now I want to open your eyes to a truth many overlook. Not every separation is punishment. Many times it is the very expression of my love. When I allow you to be removed from an environment, a relationship, or a position, it does not mean I have forsaken you. On the contrary, I am protecting the best part of your soul from the slow corrosion of compromise. You often see closed doors as failure, but I see them as shields from snares you cannot yet perceive. Like a father who will not let his child play at the edge of a cliff, I will not let you remain in familiar places that may harm you. My love always goes ahead to guard you, even when you do not understand. Look back at the spiritual history, my child, and you will see that everyone I chose walked through seasons of exclusion. Joseph, the dreamer I gave visions to, was cast out by his own brothers. They despised him, envied him, and sold him as a slave. Yet in that exile I planted patience, faithfulness, and vision beyond circumstance in him. And at the time I had appointed, he was not only restored but became the instrument to save multitudes. Without rejection he would have remained in safety, never growing into the ruler who would govern a kingdom. So, my child, do not think the separation you now face is meaningless. It may be the very corridor leading you into your true calling. Remember David, whom I anointed king, when he was still a shepherd boy. Before he sat upon the throne, he endured years of exile, hunted from the palace, hiding in caves, bearing betrayal and envy. I allowed it not to disgrace him, but to train his heart, to teach him to rely on me rather than weapons or allies. It was in those days of rejection that David wrote Psalms, drenched in tears, yet filled with faith. And when the time came, I raised him to the throne, not one built on pride, but on humility and reverence for me. My child, do you see it? Every separation, every moment of being cast aside is, in truth, a spiritual classroom. It is there that you learn what palaces cannot teach, what crowds cannot impart, and what comfort cannot produce. When you lose the acceptance of men, you will find my acceptance. When you are left alone in the wilderness, you will see that I am the living spring of water. When you no longer lean on your own strength, you will learn to rest on mine. And the wonder is this: in the very place of lack you will discover that I am enough. Do not think that I take pleasure in your pain. I never delight in your suffering, but I know that pain opens the path to a deeper life. Just as gold cannot shine unless it passes through fire, so your soul cannot reflect my glory unless it is refined. Do not fear the fire, for it does not come to destroy but to purify. Just as the 3 Hebrew friends walked through the furnace unharmed with only their chains burned away, so you too will emerge from trial not consumed, but truly free. Therefore, my child, change your perspective. When a door closes, do not rush to complain. When someone departs, do not hasten to grieve. When honor is taken from you, Do not count at the end. Trust that behind every shift, my hand is still at work. I am the one who turns the seasons, the one who orders the rhythm of your life. I know you may feel unprepared when everything shakes, but I promise you will not be left alone. I will walk with you, uphold you, and guide you until you see clearly. Rejection is only the beginning of elevation. My beloved, there are times I must lead you to a place where no one else can stand beside you so that you have only me. You call it isolation, but I call it a training ground. You feel abandoned, but in truth, it is in that stillness that I can teach you what the noise of the crowd never could. The wilderness is not a curse, it is a classroom. There all that is unnecessary dies away, leaving only what is essential. There all other voices fall silent, leaving only my voice. There you will realize that life does not come from the sources you thought were vital, but from me alone, the eternal wellspring that never runs dry. Remember Moses. He grew up in the palace, educated in the wisdom and power of Egypt. But none of that prepared him for the mission of leading my people out of bondage. I allowed him to leave the golden halls and spend 40 years in the desert as a shepherd. Men saw a demotion, a failed life, an ended future. But I saw a corridor into his true calling. In that solitude, he learned to hear my voice from the burning bush. In that harsh land, he was trained to guide a nation through 40 years of wilderness. Without the desert, there would have been no day when he lifted his staff and the sea parted. So it is with you, my child. The years that seem like loss are in fact my investment into a brighter future. When I allow you to fall out of comfort, it is not to make you meaningless, but to free you from dependence on fragile things. You once believed the presence of a certain person or the approval of others was necessary for you to stand. But I want to teach you that with me alone, you are already complete. Only when you have no one else to lean on will you realize that I am the keeper of your soul. And it is in that very solitude that I will open your ears to hear my voice clearly and open your eyes to see spiritual realities you never perceived before. Do not be afraid of the silence. Do not tremble when applause is gone. That very silence will become the solid foundation of your soul. That very lack will become the stage for miracles. Do you remember Israel in the desert? When they had no food, I rained manna from heaven. When they had no water, I brought forth streams from the rock. When they were surrounded by enemies, I fought on their behalf. Without the wilderness, they would never have learned that I am Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides. So too, my child, the separation you face is the opportunity to see me more clearly. I do not want you to know me only through another's words, a sermon, or a story. I want you to know me through personal encounters, through direct experience. And sometimes, to bring you into that encounter, I must remove false supports, leaving you no choice but to look up to me. This is not abandonment, it is preparation for a destiny-shaping meeting. Therefore, change your view of solitude. Do not see it as a pit, but as a sacred space I have set apart. Do not see it as emptiness, but as an invitation to be filled with my presence. Do not see it as an ending, but as the opening step of a deeper journey. For it is in the wilderness that I often speak the clearest words. It is in the dry places that I often pour out the richest streams of living water. And it is in the places that seem most meaningless that I often plant the seeds of the greatest things. My child, remember this. Those I have used most powerfully all walked through seasons of isolation. Joseph was once in prison, David hid in caves, Elijah fled into the wilderness, and even Jesus himself spent 40 days in the desert. Each one had to pass through solitude in order to be prepared for a greater calling. So it is with you. You are not abandoned, you are being trained. You are not forgotten, you are being set apart. You are not cast aside, you are being lifted into a new season. When I prune you and lead you into quiet places, what I seek is not your suffering, but your transformation at the very root. I do not aim to change just a few outward habits. I desire to touch the depths of your soul where your true motives reside. For in those hidden places, you often conceal fears, wounds, and compromises you do not want to face. I know the things you keep even from yourself, but I am not deceived. My gaze pierces through every mask, every cover, every excuse, and it is love that compels me not to leave you as you are. True love never nurtures deception. It always leads to the truth that sets free. Remember, not everything that shines on the outside is strong on the inside. You may gain the respect of men, but if your soul is not rooted in me, all will collapse when the storm comes. You may keep the appearance of holiness, but if your heart is far from me, then holiness is only an empty shell. You may do many works in my name, but without true fellowship, they are only the labors of man. That is why I must overturn the altars you have built for yourself, the altar of self, of control, of reputation, of comfort. All must fall so that only the true altar remains, where I am the center and worship flows from a sincere heart. Do not fear when I begin to shake the old foundations. Do not tremble when I remove what you once thought indispensable. I do not take away to make you poor, but so you may receive what is better and eternal. Like a refiner melting gold to remove impurities, I allow you to pass through fire to strip away what does not belong to my kingdom. You are not being destroyed, you are being cleansed. You are not being discarded as refuse, you are being reshaped as a holy vessel. You are not being humiliated, you are being prepared to carry glory beyond imagination. My child, I know this process is painful. I know you feel empty when the familiar is taken away. I know you feel lost when your supports are gone. But remember, this pain is not a sign of death, it is a sign of birth. A new life is forming within you, and like a woman in labor, the most intense pain is not the end, but the beginning of joy. At the very moment you think you cannot go on, I am birthing a new person, stronger, humbler, holier, and filled with my spirit. Think of the vine. When the vine dresser cuts away unfruitful branches, the plant looks bare, unattractive, even lifeless. Yet it is that very pruning that makes way for abundant fruit. Without pruning, the vine grows wild, its branches entangled, its fruit small and withered. But through pruning it becomes focused, strong, and yields clusters rich with sweetness. So it is with you, my child. I am pruning you so that you will bear much fruit, fruit not only for yourself, but to nourish those around you, that the world may see and glorify my name. Therefore, do not view rejection as a curse. Do not see refusal as the end. Instead, see them as evidence that I am at work with you. Each time something falls away, ask, Lord, what new thing are you building? Each time a door closes, pray, open my eyes to see the door you are about to open. And each time you find yourself set apart, remember you are not alone. I am still there, still holding your hand, still leading you. Even when you do not feel me, I am present. Even when you think I am silent, I am acting. Even when you feel cast out in truth, you are being drawn closer into my heart. Let this word be etched deep within you. Rejection is not the end, but the beginning. It is not a dethroning, but a preparation. It is not destruction, but deliverance. I am building you for a season that eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and hearts have not imagined. But to enter it, you must let go of pride, let go of fear, let go of dependence on man, let go of unholy habits, let go of every alliance with darkness. And when you fall down in surrender, I will lift you up in glory. So, my child, open your heart today. Kneel to receive new strength. Lay down the temporal to embrace the eternal. Trust that I am in every detail, and that nothing happens outside my hand. For it is written, all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:2-8. You are among them. You are called, chosen, and set apart. And the rejection you face today is my hand arranging tomorrow's fulfillment. My beloved child, know this. What you are walking through is not only about you, but is tied to the greater plan I am accomplishing on earth. You often see through the narrow lens of your own pain, your own loss, your own questions. But I want you to understand that every shift in your life fits into a much larger picture. I am not only shaping one person, I am preparing a person. I am not only redeeming one soul, I am positioning generations. And the rejection you face today is, in fact, my invitation for you to step into your role in a plan far greater than you can now comprehend. Look again at my word. I called Abraham to leave his homeland, to step away from family ties, in order to lead him to a new land, where I made a covenant with him, promising descendants as countless as the stars and as the sand on the seashore. That departure seemed like loss, like estrangement, but it became the foundation of a nation set apart for me. Had Abraham chosen to remain in comfort, the story of faith would never have become a testimony for all generations. My child, the separation I now require of you carries the same meaning. I am leading you out of the familiar to establish something new, not only for you, but for all who will be blessed through your obedience. Remember Ezekiel the prophet I called in the midst of exile. He did not prophesy from the splendor of the temple in Jerusalem, but in a foreign land by the river Chebar, where my people were scattered. I removed him from comfort to place him where he could hear my voice and proclaim my message to an entire nation. In the same way, my child, rejection is not proof that you are useless. It is a sign that I am positioning you to become a voice for your generation. My child, I want you to know that I never act halfway. When I remove something from your life, it is because I am preparing you for something greater. When I separate you from the embrace of men, it is because I want to hold you in my own arms. When I close a door, it is because I am about to open a path you have never imagined. You may feel as though you are being pushed out, but in truth you are being led further and deeper into fellowship with me, deeper into the knowledge of my will, and deeper into spiritual strength. Do not think that rejection is merely a sad event in your personal story. It is part of a larger spiritual battle. The powers of darkness do not want you to step into your destiny, because they know that if you stand firm in me, your light will shatter the darkness around you. That is why they have used people, circumstances, even those you thought were closest to you, to discourage you. But my child, never forget that everything remains under my sovereignty. Even the darkest schemes cannot go beyond the boundaries I have set. Just as with Job, Satan could test, but only within limits I allowed. And in the end, what he meant for harm became the stage for me to reveal greater glory. Look again at the life of Joseph. What his brothers intended to use to destroy him became the very means of raising him to honor. He declared words, "You must hold close to your heart. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 5:0-20. So it is with you, my child. Those who try to cast you aside do not realize they are unknowingly helping to fulfill my greater plan for you. They do not know that their rejection is pushing you into the very place where I can use you more fully. And at the time I appoint, it will be my own hand that places you in a position no accuser can overthrow. My child, do not look at rejection through the narrow lens of emotion. See it through the eyes of faith. Instead of asking, "Why did they do this to me?" ask, "Lord, what are you doing in me and through me?" When you ask the right question, you will see that rejection is not a mark of uselessness, but a catalyst for transformation. When you choose to believe that I am working even in the painful places, you will see that very pain becomes fertilizer for a great harvest. And as you wait patiently, you will see all things work together for the good of those who love God. Romans 8:2-8. Therefore, do not be surprised when you are misunderstood, set aside, or refused. It is not the end, but the signal that I am beginning a new chapter. Do not fear when those who once walked with you depart. Do not be anxious when old supports are removed. For it is precisely in those moments that I am proving to you that I alone am the unshakable foundation. And if you stand upon that foundation, even if everything else collapses, you will not be destroyed. Here is what I want you to remember. Rejection is not personal failure, but heavenly strategy. It is my design to remove you from danger, to refine you in hidden places, and to lead you into the harvest I have prepared. If you look at it with physical eyes, you will see only pain and disorientation. But if you look with eyes of faith, you will see it as evidence that I am at work. Be courageous and continue forward, for you do not walk alone. I go before you, I walk beside you, and I will lead you to the finish. My beloved child, understand this. The trials you now face are not random misfortunes, but part of the spiritual training I have ordained. When I allow certain people to leave your life, when I close doors you thought would always remain open, when I take away what you believed you could never lose, it is not abandonment. It is my hand gently removing false supports so you can learn to lean fully on me. You have often clung to relationships, opportunities, or achievements to find validation. But my child, those things last only for a season. They cannot be the foundation of eternal life. That is why I must uproot them to plant in you a lasting foundation in me. Consider Joseph once more when he was in prison. From a favored son he became one sold as a slave, falsely accused and locked away like a criminal. To human eyes he was a failure, but to me he was being forged in fire. The prison did not destroy him, it refined him. In the darkness he learned to trust me without seeing the light. In injustice he learned to keep a pure heart and forgive. And those very days that seemed hopeless were preparing him to stand before Pharaoh and receive a position of authority. So too, my child, the days when you feel cast aside may in fact be the very place where I am training you for a responsibility greater than you can yet imagine. Do not let the rejection of others discourage you. You are not defined by their gaze. You are not diminished by their judgment. You are not excluded because you lack worth. On the contrary, rejection is the evidence that I am setting you apart for a different purpose. When the world can no longer contain the light I have placed within you, it will cast you out. When others can no longer comprehend what I am doing, they will turn away. But do not be troubled. For as Jesus himself said, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me. 1 John 1:5-1:8. The rejection of men is simply a sign that you are drawing nearer to me. My child, I want you to change the way you see brokenness. Do not view it as an ending, but as a beginning. Do not see it as failure, but as a stepping stone. Do not regard it as loss, but as liberation. Everything you are losing is only what cannot accompany you into the season ahead. If it remained, it would hinder your steps. If it continued, it would slow you down. Therefore, I must prune. I must separate. I must allow you to walk through lack, so that when you enter fullness, you will no longer cling to what is perishable. Remember, it is isolation that creates the opportunity for me to speak more clearly. Do you recall Elijah in the wilderness? After his triumph on Mount Carmel, he fled in despair, feeling utterly alone. Yet in that moment I did not appear in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire. I came in a gentle whisper. My child, rejection brings you into silence, and it is in that silence that you will hear my voice more clearly than ever before. If applause still surrounded you, perhaps you would not listen. But when all grows quiet, my voice will rise like the fountain of life. Do not forget that trials are also opportunities. They are chances for you to look inward to recognize what truly matters. They are opportunities to humble yourself, to seek me with all your heart. They are opportunities to discover the hidden potential I placed within you, things comfort would never awaken. Just as a seed must be buried before it can sprout, Your soul must pass through what seems like darkness before bursting forth in life. And in due season you will see the tender shoots breaking through, heralding a bountiful harvest. My child, rejection is the necessary process to enter glory. You cannot cling to darkness and still walk in light. You cannot hold on to the old and still step into the new. You cannot desire safety and yet pursue glory. You must choose. And that choice begins with surrender. I am waiting for you to lay down ashes so that I may crown you with glory. I am waiting for you to offer weakness so that I may give you new strength. I am waiting for you to release fear so that I may fill you with my spirit overflowing with power and peace. Therefore, my child, embrace the process. Do not resist, for resistance only prolongs the pain. Do not run, for you will meet it again at another turn. Open your heart, kneel and yield. For when you humble yourself, I will lift you up. When you lose all, you will see that I am enough. When you are weak, my strength will be made perfect. And when you remain faithful through the trial, you will step into a season beyond anything you ever imagined. My beloved child, now, I want you to understand this. Every rejection I allow carries a purpose to set your soul free and to establish you firmly in the new season. You cannot enter the higher plan I have ordained if you still carry the burdens of the past. Just as a soldier cannot march into battle weighed down by civilian baggage, you must be released from every invisible chain. And to accomplish this, I must remove the things you cling to that hold no eternal value. I know this causes you pain, but that pain is not the sign of destruction. It is the sign of rebirth. Do you remember when Abraham parted ways with Lot? They had journeyed together, but strife arose and separation became necessary. What seemed like loss became the moment when I spoke to Abraham of my great promise. Lift up your eyes from where you are and look. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. Genesis 1:3-1:4-15. My child, there are those who cannot go with you to the end. They are not evil, but they are not meant to share in the inheritance I have reserved for you. So I must allow them to leave, not to leave you lonely, but to make room for fulfillment. Do not forget my son Jesus, my beloved. He himself faced bitter rejection in his own hometown. People looked at him and said, "Isn't this the carpenter's son?" Matthew 1:3-5-5. They stumbled over him, and because of that, he could not perform many miracles there. My child, even the Redeemer was rejected, so you cannot expect to escape it. Yet his rejection did not hinder him from fulfilling his mission. On the contrary, it led him to the cross, the place of pain, but also the place of victory, and through his obedience, all humanity was redeemed. Do you see, rejection is never the final word. It is the doorway to a new chapter of glory. My child, I know. There are wounds in your heart, still unhealed moments of misunderstanding, slander, and being set aside. You have wept in silence, carrying the pain like a hidden secret. But today I declare not one tear of yours is wasted. I have gathered them in my bottle, Psalm 5:6-8. I have remembered every sigh, every collapse in the night. And I promise there will come a day when I turn those wounds into testimony. You will tell the story of how in your pain I was near. In rejection I embraced you. In brokenness I rebuilt you stronger. Therefore, my child, stop seeing rejection through the lens of bitterness. Do not let resentment take root in your heart. Do not let painful memories become chains that bind you. Forgive those who left you, for forgiveness unlocks true freedom. Bless those who hurt you, for in blessing them you will be healed. Let go of what has passed, for as long as you cling to ashes, you cannot receive the crown of glory I long to place on your head. My child, you must know that time does not wait. I am shaking nations, overturning false systems, and displaying my righteousness on the earth. And in this process I am calling forth those who are ready. You cannot walk with me while clinging to the old. You cannot long for glory while holding on to darkness. This is the moment you must decide: remain in the familiar and miss your opportunity, or let go and step into the new I have prepared. And I promise if you choose me, you will never be disappointed. My child, I want you to remember this: rejection is not condemnation, but reshaping. The old self must die so that the new self may rise in power. Old habits must be consumed so that holiness may be formed. Fear must be drowned so that faith may arise. And when this takes place, you will become a lamp shining in the night, a living witness of my grace. When the world looks at you, they will no longer see one who was rejected, but one who is chosen, anointed, and sent forth for a noble mission. Therefore, my child, rise up. Let rejection become your launching pad. Let refusal be the evidence of your calling. Let brokenness become the foundation for restoration. And let your heart be filled with confidence that I have never and will never abandon you. You are not cast aside to disappear. You are set apart to be revealed. You are not displaced to become meaningless. You are positioned to be prepared, and at the appointed time, all will see clearly that it was my hand that accomplished it. My beloved, listen closely, for now I want to reveal to you a secret of the kingdom. Rejection does not come only to refine, but also to protect. I see forces your eyes cannot yet see. I know schemes hidden from your ears. I hear whispers in the dark, plots designed to destroy you, and therefore I must act before they can swallow your soul. You do not understand why certain doors suddenly close, why relationships you thought were vital fall apart, why positions you desire slip from your grasp. But my child, it is my hand intervening. I am not only leading you to something better, I am shielding you from traps that, had you continued, would have made you stumble. Like a father pulling his child from the street as a carriage rushes by, so I pull you away from dangers you do not yet perceive. You think you lost an opportunity, but in truth I kept you from a snare. You think you were rejected, but in truth I protected you from a trap that would suffocate your soul. You think you were pushed aside, but in truth I covered you from the destruction your enemy had planned. My child, if you could see the battle in the unseen realm, you would stop blaming me and begin thanking me. You would understand that my love is revealed not only in what I give, but also in what I remove. Remember Joseph once again. When he was sold as a slave, surely he asked, "Why would God allow this?" But had he not left his father's house, he would never have reached Egypt, the place where I had destined him to become an instrument of deliverance. If he had not been thrust out of familiar arms, he would never have stood before the throne to govern. Rejection was my hand protecting the dream within him from destruction. If he had lingered too long in comfort, familiarity itself would have become the grave of his destiny. My child, in the same way, I must bring you out of places that feel safe to preserve the seed I have planted in your heart. Do you remember David? When Saul's anger raged and he sought to kill him, David fled, dwelling in caves, stripped of throne recognition and peace. But it was in that displacement that I kept his heart from the corruption of power and pride. Had he remained by Saul's side, his soul would have been eroded by envy, jealousy, and decay. I drew him away, not because he failed, but because I was preserving him for the throne I had ordained. My child, there are places you think are glorious, but are in fact snares. There are positions you long for that, if gained too soon, would destroy your soul. I must protect you, even when you do not understand. My child, you often see rejection through the lens of immediate emotion and perceive it as injustice. But I want you to change your perspective. Each time you are pushed aside, ask, Lord, what are you protecting me from? When you ask this, you will realize that what seems like loss is in fact an invisible shield. You will see that I fight not only to bless, but also to prevent the enemy from stealing your blessing. As Psalm 91 promises, he will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. 5.4. My child, sometimes that shield is rejection itself. It halts the arrow in flight. It blocks the destruction the enemy prepared. You must also understand that rejection is equipping. When I take things from you, it is so you may take hold of what is new. You cannot cling to chains and wield the sword of the Spirit at the same time. You cannot march into battle with arms full of burdens. You must release in order to be ready to grasp spiritual weapons. I am training you for greater battles, and for that reason, I cannot allow you to be distracted by lesser things. Today's isolation is to build endurance, resilience, and faithfulness, so that tomorrow, when you face greater trials, you will not falter. My child, you see rejection as loss, but I see it as strategy. You see it as demotion, but I see it as preparation. You see it as denial, but I see it as protection. Trust me, for I see farther than you. I see the future, I see the storm, I see the schemes hidden from you. And in love I choose to intervene now so that you will not collapse later. My beloved, I want you to recognize that rejection not only shields you from hidden dangers, but it is also the means I use to prepare you for a mission you never imagined. You often think that to be used in my work you need praise, recognition, and supportive connections. But my child, I do not choose the one exalted by men. I choose the one who is humble, who trusts, who walks through fire without losing faith. This is why I allow you to endure days that seem meaningless, because in reality, I am writing a new story about your life, a story only those who stand firm in solitude can understand. Remember that before Moses stood before Pharaoh, he spent 40 years in the wilderness. Before Joseph governed Egypt, he endured long years in prison. Before David sat upon the throne, he ran as one hunted. And even my son Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness before beginning his ministry. None step into glory without passing through isolation. None wear the new robe without first walking through rejection. Do you see, my child? Every separation you face today is but the classroom where you are being trained for tomorrow. I know you have wept at being misunderstood. I know you have ached when those you trusted turned away. I know you have felt loss when opportunities slipped through your grasp. But my child, this is how I am shaping your heart. I want your heart to learn to love without expecting return, to forgive, even when betrayed, to remain faithful, even when unseen. For only these qualities can uphold the weight of spiritual responsibility. A throne cannot stand if it is built on pride. A mission cannot succeed if founded on selfishness. This is why I let you taste brokenness to teach humility. I let you experience loneliness to teach trust. I let you endure rejection to teach you to cling to me rather than men. My child, do not think that I have forgotten you in this process. On the contrary, it is in the moments when you feel most alone that I am closest to you. You do not realize it, but every tear you shed I have kept. You do not know it, but every step you take in the dark, my feet walk beside yours. You think you are being pushed to the margins, but in truth, I am placing you at the very center of my plan. You think you are abandoned, but in reality, I am covering you under the shadow of my wings. As Psalm 139 declares, if I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. V.8. My child, there is no place you can go where I am not present. My child, rejection is also the way I teach you to distinguish the true from the false. When you are still surrounded by applause, it is easy to confuse genuine love with exploitation. But when the applause fades, those who remain reveal who I have truly sent. You will see that not everyone who appears loyal has a sincere heart. Not everyone who speaks kindly seeks your good. Rejection is the light that exposes hidden intentions. And through this, you will learn to rely only on me rather than on fragile human loyalty or worldly wisdom. You must also remember that preparation is never short. I do not rush. I work by seasons in the time I have appointed. You may feel delayed, but in reality, everything is unfolding exactly on time. If you sprout too soon, you will not bear the weight of the fruit. If you are lifted too quickly, your roots will not be deep enough to withstand the storm. So, my child, be patient. Believe that I am working in the silence even when you cannot yet see the result. Let your heart rest, for I am faithful. What I begin with you, I will complete in perfect time. My child, see this process as an honor. The world may look and despise you, but heaven watches and knows you are being trained for something great. Do not compare your path to that of others. They may move faster, they may receive more praise, but you have been chosen for a different journey, and that difference requires deeper preparation. Do not envy, do not be discouraged, do not doubt. Know that I am doing a mighty work in silence, and in time all will see why I allowed you to walk through rejection. My beloved, I want you to grasp this truth. Rejection is not to make you small, but to affirm that you belong to a greater calling. People may not see the potential in you, they may mock or reject, but their view does not define you. Only I have the authority to define you, for I created you and placed within you the seed of destiny. If you keep your eyes fixed on man, you will always be shaken. But if you place your trust in me, you will stand firm, though storms surround you. My child, you must remember that nothing happening is by chance. I have orchestrated circumstances, calculated every detail to ensure that all things work together for your good. When one person turns away, I have already appointed another to appear at the right time. When one door closes, I have already prepared a greater door to open. When a position is taken, I have written your name for a place no one can steal. Everything is in my hand, and you need not fear anything except losing your connection with me. Look back to the stories of Scripture. David was an unknown shepherd boy, despised by his brothers, but I anointed him king. The disciples were mostly ordinary fishermen looked down upon by society, but I chose them to transform the world. My child, I do not choose by human standards. I choose by heart, by surrender, by faith. Therefore, do not be discouraged when men reject you. It is in rejection that I prove your calling does not come from man but from heaven, and when I choose, no one can cancel it. My child, rejection is also an invitation into commissioning. When I remove the old, it is not to leave your life empty, but to make space to pour in the new. I do not only want you to be healed, I want you to become an instrument of healing for others. I do not only want to lift you up, I want you to lift others with you. I do not only want you to be saved, I want you to be a witness so that many may be saved through you. This is why you must walk through the process, for an instrument that has not been refined cannot carry the weight of mission. I know, my child, that you worry you are not strong enough, not worthy enough, not capable enough. But do not forget, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 1:2-9. Your weakness is the very environment where my power is displayed. You do not need to prove anything to me, for I already know all things. You do not need to make yourself perfect before stepping forward, for I am the one who completes the work for you. The only thing I require is a willing heart, a heart ready to surrender, to yield, to be sent. So, my child, see rejection as transition. You are leaving behind what is familiar, but you are stepping into new territory. Do not fix your eyes on the door that has closed, but on the one that is opening. Do not cling to relationships that have ended, but prepare for the new ones I am sending to walk with you. Do not sit in ashes mourning. Rise up and prepare to wear the new robe. For I am the Lord who turns mourning into dancing, who gives beauty for ashes, who transforms brokenness into glory. Isaiah 6:1-3. My child, I call you to be strong and courageous. This is not a time to tremble. nor a time to be confused. This is the moment to rise in steadfast faith. This is the moment to declare that though men may reject, I still choose. This is the moment to decide that you will not live by the acceptance of the world, but by the acceptance of the one who gave his only Son for you. Remember this: if I am for you, who can be against you? Romans 8:3-1. Therefore, my child, receive rejection, not as a loser, but as one chosen for a new journey. Let faith arise, let courage flow, let hope be firmly rooted within you. For rejection is only the beginning of commissioning. And once I have placed you in the position I have ordained, no power can hinder you. You will stand firm not because you are strong, but because I am your strength. You will shine not because you are flawless, but because my light radiates through you. And you will become a living testimony that the rejection of men cannot overturn the choosing of God. My beloved child, now, I want you to see another vision. Beyond every rejection and refining comes the season of restoration and elevation. What you have endured was not meant to bury you, but to prepare you for a new stage, a stage of unveiling and fulfillment. You have wept in the dark, endured patiently in silence, walked through days that seemed without escape. But my child, it does not end there. I am a faithful God, and I never begin what I will not complete. If I allowed you to enter the refining process, then surely I will also bring you out with glory multiplied. Remember the stories of Scripture. After the wilderness came the promised land, after the furnace came deliverance, after the cross came resurrection. Israel wandered 40 years in the desert, but at last they entered the land flowing with milk and honey. The 3 Hebrew friends were cast into the blazing furnace, but when they emerged, not a hair was singed. The only thing consumed were their chains. Jesus died on the cross, but on the 3rd day, he rose in glory, opening the way of salvation for all mankind. So too, my child, you will not remain in sorrow. Trials are the middle chapter, not the final one. Your final chapter is restoration, fulfillment, and the unveiling of glory I have already ordained. My child, what I am doing to you is not only for you, but also for others. When I heal your wounds, you will become an instrument of healing for others. When I wipe your tears, you will wipe the tears of many. When I lift you from the lowest place, you will stand as living evidence that my grace is sufficient for all. Every sorrow you have borne will be transformed into testimony, to encourage, to build up, to open the eyes of those still wandering in the dark. As I have spoken through my servant Paul, God comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. 2 Corinthians 1:4. My child, do not think that what you have lost will never be restored. I am the God of restoration, and my restoration not only returns what was taken, but makes it overflow. Job endured bitter trials, losing wealth, health, and even the support of loved ones. But in the end, he was restored twice. So it will be with you. The things the enemy sought to steal, I will return and increase. Yet this restoration is not only about possessions or position, it is about the depth of your soul, unshakable peace, enduring joy, and faith that cannot be moved. My child, I am preparing to place a new responsibility on your shoulders. It is not a burden but a commission. It is not oppression but sending. I have allowed you to walk through rejection to ensure that when I lift you up, your heart will not grow proud, your hands will not cling to what is fleeting, and your eyes will remain fixed on me. You will no longer seek validation from others, for you have learned that only my affirmation endures. You will no longer depend on applause, for you have learned to hear my voice in silence. You will no longer tremble at rejection, for you now know you were chosen before the foundation of the world. So my child, prepare your heart for the new season. I have not called you out of the old so you would wander aimlessly. I am leading you into a place of abundance, of peace, of clear calling. but you must be ready to walk in obedience. Do not look back with regret. Do not cling to ashes, for I have prepared a banquet. Do not let the past imprison you, for I am writing a future filled with hope. As my promise declares in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope." My child, this is the time to stand firm in faith, not fragile faith built on feelings, but steadfast faith rooted in my word. When everything around you seems to shake, remember I do not change. When others walk away, remember I never leave. When you feel weak, remember, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Hold tightly to my word as an anchor for your soul, and you will see that the storm is only the path leading you to a new shore. My beloved, know this. My restoration is not like man's repayment. People may restore you by returning you to where you once were, but I take you far beyond. My restoration is never mere replacement, it is always elevation. I not only give back what was lost, I add what you never had before. This is my nature, to turn weakness into strength, failure into victory, and to orchestrate all things to reveal my glory. My child, do you remember Job? When he was tested, he lost everything: wealth, children, health, and honor. His friends came not to comfort him, but to accuse him. Even his wife urged him to abandon his faith. Yet Job remained steadfast, declaring, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him." Job 1:3-1:5. And in the end I restored to him twice what he had before. My child, this is proof that no loss in me is ever wasted. If you hold firm in faith, you will see my hand turn all things for good. Your restoration will be the same, not just a return, but an increase beyond measure. My child, prepare yourself for a transformation deeper than the outward. My restoration begins first in the soul. I long to heal the wounds you have hidden for too long. I long to wipe away the silent tears you have shed. I long to free you from bitterness, from the weight of accusations, from the haunting memory of rejection. True restoration is not merely regaining what was lost. It is when your heart is renewed, when you can forgive, when you can look back at the past without being bound by it. That, my child, is true freedom. My child, my restoration also means placing you in your rightful place within my great plan. Perhaps before you were distracted, caught in the swirl of ambition or fear. But now I am realigning your focus. I want your eyes fixed on me, your ears tuned to my voice, your heart pursuing what I command. No longer will you chase human approval, but you will run after the calling I have placed within you. No longer will you live to maintain your status before men, but you will live to fulfill your place in my heavenly design. That is true restoration, when you stand rightly in my plan. Know this, my child, every rejection of the past was to make room for this restoration. If you still clung to old relationships, how could I bring new companions? If you still leaned on fragile supports, how could I place you on a firm foundation? If you still grieved over the past, how could you seize the future? That is why I removed, not to leave you empty, but to prepare a place for fullness. And now I am ready to pour out. Picture restoration as a house being rebuilt. I do not simply patch cracked walls. I rebuild on a solid foundation. I do not merely cover scars with fresh paint. I raise up a whole new structure, stronger, steadier, more beautiful. My child, this is what I am doing to you. I do not cover up brokenness. I recreate it into glory. And my child, know that this restoration will go beyond your personal life. It will ripple into your family, to those around you, even to future generations. When I restore you, I plant seeds for your descendants. When I break chains off your soul, I sever the cords that once bound your family. When I give you freedom, you will pass down a heritage of freedom. As Scripture promises, showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments, Exodus 2:06. So receive this restoration with faith. Do not limit me with your small thoughts. Do not think I can only do part of the work. I am the Almighty, and I am able to do exceedingly abundantly beyond all that you ask or imagine. Ephesians 3:20. When you surrender fully, you will see doors open you never dreamed of. You will see divine appointments arrive right on time. You will see unexpected provision flow. And above all, you will see your heart transformed into an instrument of light. My beloved, I want you to remember, this restoration is not simply me giving back what was lost. It is me transforming you into someone entirely new. You will not return to who you once were, for restoration in me is always reshaping. Like a broken vessel remolded by the potter, it is not just repaired, but recreated into something stronger, more useful, more beautiful. My child, this is what I am doing in your life. I am reshaping the fragments not to remain scars, but to become a masterpiece that reflects my grace. My child, that is why restoration does not end with comfort, but with commissioning. You will not merely rise to continue an ordinary life, but you will rise with a new mission, a new identity, a deeper knowledge of me. You will no longer live in fear of rejection, but in the certainty of my affirmation. You will no longer search for worth in human eyes, but find it in me, the one who has called you by name and engraved you on the palms of my hands. Isaiah 49:16. This restoration will ignite within you a new fire, the fire of holiness, the fire of courage, the fire of love. You once bowed your head in tears, but now you will lift it high in hope. You once trembled in confusion, but now you will stand firm in faith. You once walked in uncertainty, but now you will stride in peace that surpasses all understanding. This is my work, turning the rejected into the chosen, the weak into warriors, the broken into living witnesses. And my child, my restoration in you is not for you alone, but for many others. I will use your story to comfort the hurting, to strengthen the weary, to encourage the outcast. You will testify, the Lord has done great things for me, and your testimony will be strength to many souls. They will look at you and know no rejection can cancel. My choosing, no brokenness can hinder my restoration. Do not fear when I place you in new places and entrust you with new responsibilities. These are not burdens but privileges. They are not impositions but divine callings. You will not walk alone, for I go before you. I walk beside you, and I follow behind you. You will not need to rely on your own resources, for my Spirit will equip you with the words, wisdom, and strength you need. You will see doors open, divine meetings unfold, new connections established, all as part of my complete restoration. My child, see the scars of your past not as marks of pain, but as proof of healing. See the tears you once shed not as symbols of weakness, but as seeds for a harvest of joy. See the rejections you endured not as disgrace, but as stepping stones for your rising. When you look back, you will recognize that every painful path has led you to the very place I have called you to stand today. And you will know that my restoration is complete, good, and abundant. Therefore, my child, rise up in a new faith. Be ready to step into the harvest of restoration. Receive the new identity I am giving you. Put on the new robe I have prepared and walk in the confidence that you are no longer the rejected but the set apart. Let others see the transformation in you and glorify my name. For I, the Lord, have promised I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten. Joel 2:5. And that promise never fails. My beloved child, I now declare to you the new season has come. You are no longer in the phase of rejection or refining. You are about to enter the time of commissioning. Everything I have done, pruning, removing, healing, restoring, was never meant only to comfort you, but to make you a useful vessel in my hand. You were not created to live a life of mediocrity. I have placed within you the fire of calling, and that fire cannot be quenched by rejection or darkness. Now is the time for you to rise, not in your own strength, but in the power of my Spirit. Remember, my child, commissioning never comes while you are still clinging to the old. That is why I allowed rejection to happen. You cannot carry both light and darkness. You cannot grasp ashes and at the same time receive a crown. You cannot live to please men and at the same time live to please me. Thus, rejection was the necessary preparation so that today, as I send you, you will walk free of burdens, free of chains, free of the weight of the past. You will walk forward as a trained warrior, ready for the battles ahead. My child, understand this. The commission is not about making you prominent, but about making me glorified. You do not need to seek applause, for your true reward is already secured in me. You do not need to fight for position, for your place has been marked out by me before the foundation of the world. Your only call is to be faithful, and faithfulness will bring you into the exact place I intend. Remember that Jesus, my only Son, humbled himself and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. And because of that obedience, I exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name above every name, Philippians 2:8-9. My child, exaltation always follows humility, and commissioning always begins with surrender. This commissioning, my child, also means I will open new doors. Doors no one can shut, doors that will bring you into divine appointments, timely connections. You will meet those I have prepared to walk with you, people who will not envy your gifts, but will support, encourage, and strengthen you. I will place you in the right community where you can build and also be built up. And in these new relationships, you will see more clearly the purpose I have for you. Do not think, my child, that commissioning will come without trials. On the contrary, it will carry responsibilities and battles. But unlike before, when you fought in your own strength, now you will fight in the power of my Spirit. You will no longer be alone, for I am with you always to the very end of the age. Matthew 2:8-20. You will no longer fear, for I have given you a spirit of power, love, and self-control. 2 Timothy 1:7. You will no longer tremble at the darkness, for the light within you will make the darkness retreat. My child, this commissioning will also require courage to walk a path no one has walked before. I will lead you into new territories, not only physical places, but spiritual realms yet to be claimed. I will use you to bring light into darkness, to encourage the weary, to break chains that have bound people for too long. You will become a messenger of hope, a lamp shining in the night, a voice proclaiming that new life is real in me. But to do this, you must believe that I have chosen you, not because you are perfect, but because my grace is sufficient. So prepare your heart to walk in humility. Commissioning is not a call to power, but a call to service. You will not sit on a throne to be served, but will kneel to wash the feet of others. You will not use your gifts to lift yourself, but to build and to rescue. You will not live for your own name, but to exalt mine. This is the highest honor, to become my hands, my feet, and my voice in this world. Therefore, my child, do not fear any longer. All you have endured, rejection, brokenness, loss, was only the introduction. Now I call you into a new season, a season of commissioning, of fulfillment, of the revealing of glory. Rise up, for the time has come. Your light must shine, your voice must be heard. Your feet must step into new ground. And through you many will know that I am the living God, the one who has chosen, called, saved, and sent you for an eternal mission. And my beloved, as I send you, I am also the one who equips you. I never call anyone and send them out empty-handed. You fear you are not capable enough, not wise enough, not strong enough, but my child, my grace is sufficient for you. I am the one who will give you words when you stand before rulers. I am the one who will give you vision when you face difficult choices. I am the one who will give you strength when you feel you cannot go on. Remember, this commission is not about your ability, but about my power poured out upon you. My child, look again at your wounds. You once thought they were signs of defeat, but I will make them evidence of victory. You once hid them in shame, but I will turn them into testimonies to encourage many. You once trembled at your past, but I will make your past a testament of my grace. Just as the nail scars remained on the risen hands of Jesus, your wounds too will testify not of destruction but of redemption. And as you open your heart to share, many will see and believe that I am the God who restores. My child, know that this commissioning is not only for you to go, but for you to lead. You are not one who seeks the light only for yourself, but one who carries the light to guide others. I want you to be the one who lifts up the discouraged, comforts the hopeless, and walks beside those who stumble in the dark. I want you to be a living testimony that if God can work in your life, He can also work in theirs. You were not saved only to live in peace. You were saved to become an instrument of salvation for many. My child, this commissioning also means you will face opposition, but do not be afraid. For if I am with you, who can be against you? Romans 8:3-1. You will hear words of criticism, but let them pass by, for your value does not come from the mouths of men, but from mine, the one who has called you, my beloved. You will see doors close, but believe that I will open doors no one can shut. You will feel the attacks of darkness, but remember that I have given you spiritual armor, the sword of my word, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness. You will not fight alone, for I am the commander of the armies of heaven. My child, in this commissioning, you will see that the years of loneliness and brokenness were never wasted. They have become your preparation. You learned to stand when no one else stood by you. You learned to hear my voice when all other noise was silenced. You learned to remain faithful even when forgotten. And now what you learned in the dark will become your strength in the light. Not one moment of your journey has been in vain. Every tear, every wound, every stumble, all were part of the training that prepared you for this day. My child, I want you to understand that this commissioning is also a privilege. Not everyone is chosen to carry such a mission. Many choose the easy path, the way of comfort, the applause of the crowd. But you have been chosen for the narrow road, the road few walk, yet it leads to life. Do not be afraid when you see yourself walking differently, for your very difference proves that you have been set apart. Do not be discouraged when others do not understand, for the calling I have placed on you is not for everyone to comprehend, but for you to walk out in obedience. My child, give me your whole life, for the commission cannot succeed if you hold anything back. You cannot cling to control and still allow me to lead. You cannot hold on to your own dreams and still accomplish my will. Place everything on the altar, your ambitions, your fears, your plans, your desires. And when you do, I will breathe new life into you and make you a vessel full of power. Therefore, my child, walk with confidence, not because you are capable, but because I am with you. Stand firm, not because you are strong, but because my strength covers you. Open your mouth, not because you are wise, but because my Spirit will give you the words in due season. And remember, I am not commissioning you for a mere task, but for an eternal mission. That mission cannot be stopped, cannot be destroyed, cannot be delayed, because I, the one who calls you, am also the one who will bring it to completion. My beloved, I close these words with a clear call: choose me today. You are no longer in a season of mere testing. You are standing at the threshold of fulfillment. Everything that has happened, rejection, brokenness, loneliness, was never meant to crush you, but to make you strong enough for this day. I have uprooted in order to replant, torn down in order to rebuild, emptied in order to fill. And now I am ready to lift you up, to place the crown of calling on your head, to wrap the mantle of mission around your shoulders. But to cross this threshold, you must leave the darkness behind and step fully into the light. My child, I do not promise a path without storms. On the contrary, there will be battles. There will be opposition. There will be moments you feel weary, but I promise you will not walk alone. Just as I was with Moses before Pharaoh, with David before Goliath, with Daniel in the lion's den, so I will be with you. I am your fortress, your shield, your shade in the heat, your refuge in the storm. You need only to keep your faith firm, and I will do the rest. As Psalm 2:7-1 declares, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" My child, do not let fear hold you back. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of loss, these are only shadows the enemy casts to stop your steps. But remember, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. As you walk in faith, every chain will break, every prison door will open, every mountain will be made low. You will see that what seemed like obstacles were only launching pads for you to rise higher. My child, I call you to let your light shine. The world is drowning in darkness, confusion, lies, and despair. They need to see a flame that burns brightly, a true witness, a voice that cannot be shaken. You are the one I have chosen to carry that light. Do not wait for another. You are the answer to many people's prayers. You are the vessel I want to use to reveal my love and power. Rise up, my child, and let the light within you no longer be hidden. My child, know that the choice you make today will leave an eternal mark. If you choose to walk in obedience, you will not only change your own life, but also influence generations to come. The seeds you sow today will become the harvest for your children and your children's children. The prayers you lift up today will become the shield of protection over your lineage. The faithfulness you demonstrate now will become a spiritual inheritance, one that no thief can steal, no moth can destroy, and no time can erase. Therefore, my child, choose today. Choose surrender instead of resistance. Choose forgiveness instead of bitterness. Choose to walk in the light instead of compromising with darkness. Choose to stand in your calling rather than remain in comfort. Choose to trust instead of doubt. Choose me, my child, for I have chosen you before the foundation of the world. And when you choose me, you will see doors open, paths illuminated, and my hand guiding every step. My child, trust that I have already prepared everything. I have placed companions for the right time, arranged divine encounters, and appointed sufficient provision. You do not need to worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow is in my hands. You only need to walk faithfully today, and I will take care of the rest, as Jesus said. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Matthew 6:3-3. My child, this is a decisive hour. I speak clearly, do not delay any longer. Do not postpone your decision. Do not wait for another sign. I have already given you enough signs, enough words, enough confirmations. Now everything depends on your response. Bow down, surrender, and say to me, Lord, I belong to you. Send me, use me. And when you pray with a sincere heart, I will pour out my Spirit upon you, anoint you, and lead you into a new season full of life and power. My beloved, I have been with you from the very beginning. I have preserved you through every trial. I have lifted you when you fell. I have gathered your tears and heard every silent prayer. And I declare I have never left you. Now I will fulfill my promise. You will see the manifestation of my glory. You will see complete restoration. You will see my hand at work. You are no longer the rejected, but the set apart. You are no longer the weak, but a mighty warrior in my army. You are no longer broken, but a living temple of my presence. Therefore, my child, rise up. This is your hour. This is your season. This is the fulfillment of the promises. Step through the threshold with courage. Let your voice sound like a trumpet declaring the new season. Let your light shine like a city on a hill, and let your life become a testimony that rejection is never the end, but the beginning of a glorious story in the hands of God. Thank you for listening to today's message. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so together we may receive the living word and build unshakable faith and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.